Hi, I'm Miss Kate, and welcome to the second episode of Gardening with Miss Kate, and today we're going to talk about aloes. Aloes are a very interesting succulent in the fact that they have vitamins in their leaves that have benefits. They help heal burns, which I have learned that lesson many times, and help digestion. I don't recommend eating aloe, always do your research, but I have recently seen aloe in drinks, aloe, and even aloe vera leaves, huge aloe vera leaves in grocery stores, which I thought was really interesting. And here is my Aristrata aloe. This is Ophelia. She is one of the very first plants I got, and she's one of my favorites. And this is Helen. She is an aloe vera. As you can see, I used her from her recent burn. And I want to touch base on Helen. So aloe vera are very easy, and any other aloe are very easy to take care of. I recommend them to a beginner gardener because they're so low maintenance. But two things you have to think about when you're gardening and have an aloe. Start off with an aloe is soil and water. Water especially in Helen's case. I got Helen and Ophelia from Aloes. But Helen officially caught my eye because there was a black spot on her leaf, and I did some research, and the black spot came from over water saturation. And that's the biggest thing with any succulent, and especially an aloe. Because they're succulent and originally live in the desert, they don't really need that much water. They ration the water in their leaves. That's where they store them until the next storm comes, and that's how they survive. And what was happening with Helen, she was getting too much water, and it was actually damaging her leaves. And it caused succulents and aloes to slowly dry. So to avoid that, don't overwater them. I always do a soil check, and if it's still dry, I water, and if it's still moist, I leave it for a few more days. So that's Helen. Speaking of soil, I use this dry mix I also got from Lowe's. It's Miracle-Gro planting mix, and it's specifically for cactus, palms, and citrus. This is a very loose soil, which is very good for any succulent because it helps the water filter through. It helps also avoid root rot. Root rot is when water is stuck in the roots, and it slowly deteriorates, and it slowly starts to kill the plant, unfortunately. To also avoid that, I always have a hole in the bottom of my pot. That also helps. And overall, aloes are very easy to take care of. They're low maintenance. They need a lot of light, and they need low water. They're very beneficial, especially aloe veras. We can find them in our sunscreen. They help burns, and they are in sun cream and sodas and drinks, and some ingredients you can find on the internet. Once again, I don't recommend eating something you're not used to. Always do your research to see why it's a thing, or if you may be allergic to it, always make sure. But those are just the benefits for the aloe. Always double check your soil before you water. They don't need a lot of water. And take your time. Everyone has their own pace with gardening. Everyone can have a challenge. Aloes have another challenge if you're not used to aloes. You might overwater, but that's totally fine. They don't need too much water. And everything is, you learn from your mistakes, and you can also learn from watching them grow. It's a give and take kind of thing with gardening, and everyone has their own pace. No one's a bad gardener. Everyone's learning, and so you can keep learning by gardening. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Miss Kate, and this was Gardening with Miss Kate.